The Middle East is once again under intense global scrutiny, thrust back into the spotlight after a period of relative quiet. And the already strained relationship between Iran and Israel has reached a critical boiling point, teetering on the edge of something far more dangerous. Decades of animosity are now threatening to spill over. Tensions escalated sharply after Israel recently targeted Iranian nuclear sites in what was described as a preemptive measure, and Iran swiftly hit back with a barrage of missile strikes, a clear message that any attack would be met with a forceful response. This exchange marked a dangerous escalation, moving from covert operations and shadowy threats to a more open and direct conflict. The rules of engagement have seemingly changed. This isn't just a localized feud confined to the immediate region, it's a tense standoff with far-reaching global consequences impacting nations and economies across the world. The potential fallout ranges from volatile oil prices to a significant destabilization of international security. Now, in a move that has surprised some observers, Iran's President Pezeshkian has publicly offered a ceasefire, but only under the condition that Israel agrees to halt its actions first. It's a classic diplomatic maneuver, projecting an image of reason while simultaneously maintaining pressure on the opposing side. A carefully calculated gambit. Iran's "you first" offer places Israel in an incredibly difficult position, a true test of its strategic resolve. To concede first could be interpreted as a sign of weakness, a backing down that emboldens their adversaries, while refusing to yield carries the significant risk of further escalation and increased violence. The world is now intently watching this high-stakes staring contest, anxiously waiting to see which side will be the first to move, to flinch, or to compromise. Every statement, every gesture, every subtle nuance is being meticulously analyzed for any indication of a path towards peace, or a further descent into conflict. This situation transcends mere missile exchanges and military posturing. It's fundamentally about the control of the narrative, the shaping of public opinion, and the wielding of information as a weapon. The stakes at play? Nothing less than the future of regional stability, or a descent into utter chaos and widespread instability. The consequences are immense. Picture two kids, Ira and Izzy, fighting over the last swing. The teacher says, "Apologize," but each demands the other go first. That's Iran and Israel. Neither wants to be the first to de-escalate, fearing it'll look weak. Iran's conditional ceasefire is a PR move. If Israel agrees, Iran claims victory. If not, Iran blames Israel for the violence. Israel, meanwhile, won't stop while it feels threatened. Agreeing could look like surrender. Both sides are stuck, each waiting for the other to blink. The world just wants them to stop, but saving face matters more than peace. It's a diplomatic deadlock with everyone else caught in the middle. Who'll flinch first? No one knows. Iran and Israel don't share a border, geographically separated by several countries. However, distance doesn't diminish the intensity of their rivalry. Their conflict spans the region, a complex web of alliances and animosities that stretches across the Middle East. It's a battle for influence and dominance. Iran wields influence through proxies, most notably Hezbollah in Lebanon. This powerful militia acts as a key extension of Iranian power, and Hamas, the dominant force in Gaza. These groups receive support, training, and resources from Iran. This allows Iran to project power right up to Israel's doorstep, creating a ring of potential threats. Israel counters with its own formidable military might, constantly on alert and prepared to defend its borders, and relies heavily on U.S. backing, both in terms of military aid and diplomatic support. When Iran speaks, it's not just for itself. It's a message broadcast on behalf of its allies and partners. It speaks for a whole network that can strike Israel, potentially overwhelming its defenses. From multiple fronts, stretching Israel's resources and testing its resolve. Every move is a message to allies, enemies, signaling strength, resolve, or perhaps a willingness to negotiate. And the world, we're not the aggressors, each side claims, attempting to shape the narrative. The region's tangled alliances create a volatile environment where loyalties shift and betrayals are common. This means any clash, however small, could spiral into a wider war, drawing in multiple nations. A single misstep could drag in neighbors, forcing them to choose sides and escalating the conflict. And global powers, each with their own strategic interests in the region. That's why every ceasefire offer is scrutinized, every word, every condition, every potential loophole. Because one wrong move, one miscalculation, and the whole region could ignite in a devastating conflagration. The balance is razor thin. a precarious equilibrium that could shatter at any moment. Everyone's holding their breath, waiting to see what happens next in this high-stakes game. Ceasefires in the Middle East are often viewed with a healthy dose of skepticism, much like New Year's resolutions. They start with promising words and hopeful intentions, but are often short-lived, quickly dissolving under the weight of long-standing tensions. Recent attempts at truces between Iran and Israel have collapsed almost instantly, highlighting the fragility of peace in the region. Inevitably, these collapses are followed by a flurry of accusations, with both sides blaming each other for violations and breaches of the agreement. Ceasefires in this context are often just temporary pauses, not genuine solutions to the underlying issues that fuel the conflict. The level of mistrust runs far too deep to be overcome by simple agreements. Real and lasting peace requires more than just words on paper and handshakes in conference rooms. It needs robust monitoring mechanisms, clearly defined terms that are adhered to by all parties, and, most importantly, a genuine will from all sides to set aside differences and work towards a common future. But decades of deep-seated hostility, marked by numerous conflicts and missed opportunities, and the constant involvement in proxy wars supporting various militant groups, make building trust nearly impossible. Even in situations where leaders manage to reach an agreement, demonstrating a willingness to compromise, their proxies, the various militant organizations operating throughout the Middle East, might not necessarily listen or abide by the terms. In such a volatile environment, even one rogue attack or miscalculated move can shatter everything, sending the region spiraling back into conflict. Enforcing a truce in this complex landscape is akin to herding cats, requiring immense patience and coordination. One misstep, one violation, and it's right back to square one, with all the progress undone. The region's intricate and deeply rooted political dynamics are far too complex to be resolved with quick fixes or superficial agreements. Every failed ceasefire further erodes trust and makes the next attempt even harder to believe, fostering a sense of cynicism and despair. And so, the cycle repeats itself, with periods of calm inevitably followed by renewed conflict, leaving no clear end in sight. Can Iran and Israel ever break the cycle, or are we doomed to endless tension? Iran's president talks peace at the UN, offering to disarm if Israel does the same. Sounds great, but the obstacles, nuclear issues, proxy forces, Jerusalem and the Palestinians, are massive. Real peace would require a total shift in both countries' positions. The cost of conflict might push them toward compromise, but history says otherwise. Pezeshkian's words are a start, but deep animosity and clashing goals remain. A ceasefire might pause the violence, but the core conflict endures. Lasting peace? Maybe, but it would take a diplomatic miracle. Until then, the world keeps watching and hoping.